Did you guys like my elevator music? Actually, it's elevator music. Hello. I see all kinds of thumbs up and stuff. This is kind of scary. But welcome! Welcome to my first ever webathon or Facebook Live. This is the official Carolyn Chase DSDN webathon, and I'm your host, Carolyn Chase. So thank you for joining. Hi, Shirley. I see everybody saying hi, and there are going to probably be a few more people adding, so this is kind of exciting. I've got a lot of good stuff in store for you. It's going to be exciting and fun, and hopefully you guys will be entertained. I can't promise much because I'm super tired and exhausted, but hopefully I'll have enough adrenaline to keep myself going. Let's see, we're going to have some live interviews, and we're going to have a few giveaways. Well, actually one big giveaway of $250. So stay tuned for that. We're going to give $250 away to one of our rocking moms to help them get to a retreat. Woo! And I'm also going to share my personal story about, you know, my, I guess, diagnosis for Ella and how that came about. And, you know, just kind of show you guys that, you know, that there's a huge array of emotions and huge array of feelings that go into it, but not just with me as one person, but within just my family alone. So I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of perspective how everybody reacts differently to the news that somebody in their family or somebody that they love has Down syndrome. So let's see, who is here? Let me see. We've got Jeannie, and hi. So, hey, if you are a rocking mom and you're in DSDN, give a little heart so that everybody can see that you're here and know that, you know, you guys are here too. We've got some rocking moms who are out there giving our support, giving their support to me, and I really appreciate that you're here. I know that the time difference can be funky. I know some of you are all the way on the other side of the world, and some of you, I think, was that just Devin that just liked that? I think he's in Korea. There's people that are on the other side of the country, and the time difference is really bad. Facebook told me 8 o'clock p.m. my time was the best time to do it. That's why I picked 8 o'clock. I know it's a Wednesday, but sorry. I see Joe and Sharon. Hi. Ah, your little faces come up and then it goes pew and turns into like a little heart. So that's kind of cool. I've never done this before. So let me get started. Today is World Down Syndrome Day, 3/21. You can see that right here. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I had to write those backwards. And for some, does it say the right thing? Oh, dang it. No, it shows it in here. Oh, man. Okay, so on my screen, oh no, they are backwards. How does it get backwards already? Oh, that just goes to show you that even with, I think I turned it, hey, flip it upside down. I think I turned it upside down. It's really complicated. This whole Facebook Live thing is really complicated. Thank you. I've got my helper today. Jackson's helping me, and he's gonna kind of like take notes too. So if you have questions or if you just have a comment and you wanted to say hi, he's gonna take your notes down, and you can feel free to say hi to Jackson too. It looks,
I'm trying to get it.
Yeah, I think it's upside down. I can't tell. Somebody said it was right. Oh, Roxanne said it was correct, but
Oh, is it correct?
turn it upside down.
Yeah.
Yes, that's good. Okay, so for me, I'm seeing it now the right way.
Unless it's not the right way.
Dang. Yeah. Okay, it is the right way. Okay, so it's World Down Syndrome Day because today is world, not national, not local. It's World Down Syndrome Day. It's the third month of the year, and it's the 21st day because there's, you know, 3 of the 21st chromosomes. So I think, hey, yay, World Down Syndrome Day is awesome, and that's how you can remember that. That's really the only way that you can basically diagnose somebody with Down syndrome, because there's lots of markers and there's lots of things that can show signs of having Down syndrome, but really the only true test is a blood test, is a DNA test to look at your DNA. So everything from the almond-shaped eyes to low muscle tone, even heart conditions, you can have one or more of these and not have Down syndrome. I mean, yeah, so the only way to tell is with that extra chromosome. So if you got 47 chromosomes instead of 46, that's Down syndrome. Well, if it's on the 21st chromosome. Yeah. All right. So I just wanted to share with you, the group that I'm raising money for. I know I said the M word, and that's probably going to turn a lot of you off. I know, money issues, right? But hang in there. I've got lots of ways that you can help and give your support that don't require you to pay any money. And one of them is to just share this feed. Hit the little share button, and that way other people can see it, and hopefully they have the money and they have the funds, and then they can help and support. So through sharing it, you're kind of doing your part too. So, I'm seeing lots of everybody here. This is, oh, my cat. Okay. Yeah, so one of the other things that you can do is I think you can see a link in the comment section. If you're on your cell phones, I don't think that you can click on that link right now. Afterwards, after it's been posted, you can click on that link and it'll work. But if you're on your cell phones, I don't think that'll work. I think you have to be on a laptop or a PC of some sort for that link to work. But if you're tech savvy, you can minimize this screen and see another link in the description of this video. So if you want to go to that link, and if you can go to that link, great. You can go, and that'll take you to the donation page. And at the end, we're going to take a look at that and see if I inspired anybody to donate, which would be cool. Or you could just watch the page, because it updates regularly on its own, and you can, have an extra sense of thrill by kind of watching it either do something, or maybe the thrill of watching it do nothing and wondering if I'm going to panic or something. I don't know, add a little anxiety to your life. But yeah, and if you can't click on that link, that's okay. You just wait till the feed is done and over with, and you can check it out afterwards. And that link will be available to anybody from now until the 1st of June. So I think, Jackson, do you have some questions that you've been writing down?
Not right now. I'm looking around.
He's learning this too. So let me tell you a little bit about DSD. I can give you a bunch of facts and figures, and like statistics about what they do and their services that they provide. But I think you can get that with a click of a button. Google will tell you just type in DSDN. That's Down Syndrome Diagnosis Network, and you can read everything you want to know about what the organization officially does. So go ahead and do that at some point. But I just want to tell you what they've done for me, and how they have helped me, and how they've helped Ella, and how they've helped my family. I think that it's really more kind of the reason why I'm doing this anyway, is really how it's affected me, and how it's affected some of the other moms that I've met on there. We kind of all go through the same kind of cycles, and it really helps. And one of the things that is the most valuable is after diagnosis, whether it's a prenatal diagnosis or whether it's a birth diagnosis, it's a pretty scary experience. For me personally, I wasn't able to talk to anybody for like 3 months. I mean, I wasn't able to talk to a geneticist for 3 months. I didn't know what was going to happen with my baby girl. So I was living in fear, and it was really traumatic time to not have information, And then after she was born, I went to some of the local groups expecting to kind of find my family and find out more information about what life is like. And instead of finding that, I got stuff like this, which is like, it's helpful. It's a giant binder, and it has like really helpful information in it. Really help, look, like a whole page of doctors and specialists. There's like 3 pages like that. They have like tons of facts, but nothing that was going to help me. Nothing that was going to help with cataracts and how to deal with cataract surgery, and nothing that was going to help with reflux, and nothing that was going to be available in the middle of the night when I needed to, find out some information that wasn't about facts, or when I was just kind of panicked or worried. So the local group wasn't really working for me. They only meet once a month anyway. And when you have a baby who maybe they have to have some surgeries coming up, and they can't be out in public, you don't want them getting sick before like a big operation or a big procedure. So this local group wasn't working, and I needed to go somewhere to get some kind of real information. And that's when I found DSDN, and I was able to learn all kinds of things. Believe it or not, people on there that had little babies just like mine, who had cataracts and had cataract surgery and had, glasses or contacts or other things and other procedures. They had acid reflux, and I was able to get like real information for my situation, not just, somebody that had been through that kind of thing like 8 years ago, but they don't have current information about it now. And that's kind of where I was at with the local group. But with my DSDN group, everybody has, a 6-month-old, or, somewhere in the range of the same age that Ella was in. So that was really handy for me. And that's just one way that they were helpful for me, was just talking through some medical issues and finding information that I wasn't going to be able to find at my local group. And the other side of it was that, what if I was having a bad day? And I don't want to go and complain on Facebook that I'm having a bad day, because a lot of people, they don't get it. And they don't understand that you can have a bad day and still be okay. And you can, you don't want people feeling sorry for you, and you don't want people feeling like, oh, Down syndrome is terrible. Look what it's doing to this person. Because that's really not the message that I want to send when I say I'm having a bad day. I want to be able to say, I'm having a bad day, and I just need somebody that's going to go, hey, you can do it. And that's what I get when I go to DSDN group. I get somebody that says, hey, we've been there, and you can do this. So yeah, that's what I get it with this group, and that's why I want the group to continue, because there's lots of people just like me that can't take their babies out, or maybe they're really shy. Maybe they don't want to, they're not ready to go into public yet. They're not ready to talk with somebody in person about, their Down syndrome diagnosis. They're just not ready for that. And they want to have a private, safe place that they can go, that they can work through some of these issues. So, yeah. So if you're just now checking in, hi, welcome, and I'm here just talking about DSDN. I'm talking about World Down Syndrome Day. I'm going to be giving away $250, so don't go anywhere. I'm also going to be interviewing 2 close individuals, and I'm going to be giving my own personal testimony, I guess, as to how that diagnosis personally affected me, how I was able to kind of work through it, and then eventually how I feel about things now, to kind of show you like a spectrum of different reactions, and how everybody's different. Everybody has a different reaction, and that's the beauty of DSDN. Wherever you are, however you're feeling, there's somebody there for you that gets it, and that's really, really awesome. All right, Jackson, do we have any comments or questions yet?
No, I'm not seeing anything right now.
All right, so again, if you have comments or questions, Jackson's standing by, and he's going to write them all down, and he's ready for you. So I just want to say hi again to all of you DSDN moms who are watching. I know some of you you're really struggling right now with World Down Syndrome Day. You're not there yet to celebrate it, and that's okay. And nothing's wrong with that. And so if you're here and you're still feeling like that, and this is hard for you to watch, I want you to know you're okay. You're doing great. You're a good parent, and just because you're having personal struggles or issues with certain aspects of what Down syndrome means, it doesn't mean that you're not the best parent that your baby could possibly have. So thank you again for watching and for stopping by, and I hope this isn't too hard for you, and I hope you're not getting some kind of message that, in some way you're doing something wrong, or I'm doing something right and you're doing something wrong, or anything like that, because I think that's what World Down Syndrome Day is really about. It's not about celebrating Down syndrome, it's about celebrating differences, and accepting and loving what's different in all of us, and that's what it's about. That, people with Down syndrome are different. And we want to celebrate that. We want to celebrate the fact that different is good. And so if you're a mom or a dad and you feel different about Down syndrome than some of your other Down syndrome parents, I guess parents that have children with Down syndrome, that's okay too, because you're different too. And that should be celebrated too. So you celebrate by not celebrating, and that's okay too. All right, so let's do, I think Jackson's actually writing something down. What did you write down?
Papa's question was,
Oh,
what's going to be done with the money?
Okay, so Mike asked a question. He said, what will be done with the money? So the I think you're talking about the $250. So what happened was I reached one of my goals in, or maybe you're asking about what's going to happen with all of the money that's being donated. I'll tell you both. So the money that goes to DSDN goes to, it's a nonprofit organization. And like I said, you can just Google DSDN, Down Syndrome Diagnosis Network. But it's a nonprofit organization, and they're like outreach, like an outreach group where they go and they talk with doctors and medical professionals and give them updated information, not just about Down syndrome, but about families and how best to tell a parent that their child is going to have Down syndrome, how to tell it in a way that isn't doom and gloom. You know, and how to tell it to them like it's not a death sentence either. It's not something that they need to carry fear around in their hearts for. And they go out there and talk to doctors, and they talk to nurses, and they talk to geneticists, and they talk to different people, and they let them know, you know, what their experience is. They've talked to hundreds of moms and dads out there that would have liked to have their diagnosis given to them differently. So, yeah. The actual money that I'm giving away, if you're asking about that, I actually got to one of the levels of my donation thing. And, you know, each level you get a different prize. And I've been spending, earning those prizes, and then I'm able to share them. So the first prize was, what was it? Oh, registration. I made my registration, so I got that covered. I really couldn't share that. My second prize was the hotel stay was covered. And guess what? It's a 2-occupancy room. So I found a mom who was not doing a fundraiser. She's going to pay for the trip all by herself. And I said, hey, I want to help you with the cost of it. You know, she had other things going on. You know, she had, you know, the new baby and the whole thing going on, and it was still a lot for her. So I'm sharing my room with her. Now she can come and basically combine total of like $900 that the two of us combined saved because I was able to do that. So yay! And then I finally reached 2 nights ago, some anonymous angel donated $1,000, and I was able to reach my next goal, which was to earn my travel. It was a $500 gift card, and my airline ticket only cost $250, so I bought it. And then now I have $250 to give away. So I'm going to give it away to another mom who is having to pay for her trip and who might not make it to that level. It's really hard. It's $3,000 that they have to earn. I mean, I didn't even think I was going to make $500, let alone $3,000. So I'm going to find another mom. I've got a whole bunch of names, like over 22 names of moms who really could use it. They really, really could use it. And so one of those lucky ladies is going to win. So I'm pretty excited about that. So again, if you're here from DSDN and you're watching to see if you can win, give a little heart, because let everybody see who you are. And you never know, somebody might click on your name later and try to find your fundraiser page and maybe help you. So hey, it's worth a try. Okay, so I think I'm going to move on. Again, if you click on one of those links, either in the comment section that I have or in the description, you can find that page, and you can also donate and help some other really great mom get to this retreat. And this retreat is so important. It's self-care, it's self-love, it's time to rejuvenate, recoup, and go back and hit it hard. You know, you have all this, you know, anxiety and fear, and it's time to relax and just kind of let it loose. And we get to meet all those women who we've been basically family, we've become family, and we get to meet up with them and hold them and talk to them in person. So this is really awesome. It's a really great opportunity, and not everybody can afford it. So that's my goal, is to try to help more people get there. All right, so Jackson.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have our first interview, and I wanted to show you kind of the different levels of the diagnosis and how it affects people differently. Because, like I said, I think World Down Syndrome Day is about celebrating our differences, and not one of these stories that you're about to hear is right or wrong. They're just different. And so I kind of want to talk with a sibling of somebody who has Down syndrome. So that's my oldest son, and I want to talk with him and maybe ask him a few questions. So okay. Say hi, Jackson.
Hello.
It doesn't look like it in this, but he's like a whole lot taller than me.
Yeah, let me sit up all the way.
Oh, Jackson, I think in my nervousness for being live, I tore up my questions.
Well.
So we're going to have to wing it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so tell us about yourself.
I'm Jackson, 16 years old, and my baby sister Ella has Down syndrome.
Yeah. So do you remember the day or the moment when you heard that she was going to have Down syndrome?
Yeah, I do. I don't remember the exact date, but it was when she was close to being born, and you were telling me that when she's born she might have Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did that make you feel, though? I mean, what kind of thoughts were going through your head?
Well, I didn't know exactly what it was to begin with. And I was kind of worried about it. I didn't know exactly how it was going to affect her or anything, and so I was just kind of worried, and I wanted to know more about what it was.
You know, that's not uncommon. I think a lot of people feel that exact same way, because you hear Down syndrome and you don't know how it's going to affect your family or your life. There's so much unanswered questions that won't be answered until you meet that person, right? So, I mean, that's to me that feels like a pretty typical, worry, pretty typical concern. So, I mean, how do you feel now that you've met her? And I mean, she's 6 months old. So you got to know her for a little bit, right?
I'm kind of relieved. I mean, she doesn't seem that different from another baby. I mean, just considering she's a baby right now, she seems pretty happy and healthy, so I'm kind of feeling relieved.
Yeah, like she seems like she totally fits in with our family.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. She's funny. She does like little kind of like baby birdie faces when she gets excited, like like ah, or she'll crunch up into like a hedgehog when she wants to like hug. Oh, so I mean, she's just a ball of cuteness, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so if you were to talk to another sibling, what advice, who might be having a brother or sister with Down syndrome, what advice would you give them?
I'd probably tell them just to try and be there for them, and try and help them out, like just in their everyday life. Try to be around as much as possible to help them through any kind of problems they have, and to just trying to help them be as successful as possible. Yeah, I mean,
would you say that that's hard work? Would you say like helping?
Well, no, I mean, if you really, care enough, it's not that much work. You just have to keep being there and supporting them, yeah.
So just to clarify, Jackson's our oldest, and we have 2 younger brothers and Ella. So you're pretty experienced with younger siblings, right? So, I mean, for him, he's basically like saying, "Hey, she seems like like the other 2." Right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's having to change more diapers than he did before.
Yeah.
I don't think he changed any of
Evan's
diapers.
He
didn't change any diapers before, so maybe maybe that's a good thing. All right, Jackson, I really appreciate that you've come, and I'm glad that you came out and talked to everybody. I know, like, sitting this close to your mother in public is probably embarrassing,
it's
and
fine.
You're doing it now on Facebook Live, so I appreciate it. All right, so, give Jackson your hands and your hearts, and let him know that you care, and thank you.
All
All
right.
right, you can go now.
Okay. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. No. So, big thing that we worried about was how Down syndrome would affect, all of my kids, all of my other kids, and that was something that was worrisome for me. And turns out I didn't have anything to worry about because a brother is a brother and a sister is a sister, and in our family, it didn't really, it's not really affected them, and I'm not really worried about the future either because, we have a pretty big family and we're all pretty loving and we take care of each other, and that's just kind of ingrained in us, and whatever happens, it's going to happen. We're going to be prepared for it, and we're going to make it through. All right, I see Dad says, great job, and Marianne, she has a question. Oh, Marianne had a question. I don't know what Marianne's question was because when I told Jackson he can leave, I thought he was going to sit over here and take notes, but he took off. So, he says he's going to come back. Anyway, let's have, I have a second guest, and we're going to get him on real quick because I know a lot of you have to go to bed. So if my second guest wants to prepare and come on, that would be great. It's a special secret guest that nobody knows about. So hopefully I'll get it figured out. Now this is my first time doing Facebook Live, and I'm trying something that even the professionals don't really do. So I'm hoping that I don't screw it up. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one, the only, Eric Chase. Do 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 do. Okay. Oh, there he is. So there's like a delay, so I'm gonna try not to talk over. You, but just so everyone knows, Eric is in a different state. He's been gone for the last 3 weeks, or almost 3 weeks, in the military. So he's been in training, and so he's been very kind and patient in helping me with this, and also agreed to be interviewed Facebook Live. So it took a couple of hair pulling tries to figure this all out. So thank you, Eric. Thank you for that and being patient with me.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. He hates this stuff, guys. He hates this stuff. Okay, so before I start, Marianne asks, how long is the retreat and where is it? The retreat is 3 to 4 days, just depending on how many days you earn. I've earned 3 days, and it is in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's in September. So it should be really great. It should be awesome. There's this kind of like a water resort, like a water slides. I don't know. It looks awesome. I'll have to tell you more about it later. But anyway, so in tearing up the note cards for Jackson, I tore up the note cards for you too. So
Okay.
So we'll wing it.
I think we can wing it. Yeah. We should be good.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, okay, so you and I have very drastically different stories of this diagnosis. I was informed by a doctor and you were informed by me. So walk me through how you learned about it, the whole pregnancy process, because we were given a prenatal diagnosis, and then up until, the day she was born, and how you feel now. So just kind of like tell the story about how things have been for you.
Okay. Well, you told me that the doctor had told you there were signs that the baby could have Down syndrome. And then we both went together to the geneticist to get the actual results of the blood test. And that's when we found out. But initially, when you told me there were indicators for Down syndrome, I kind of thought, well, we'll see where we're at when we get the actual diagnosis. And we waited for that. And then when we went to the genetic counselor and they talked to us about Down syndrome, and told us that it was like 97% chance. We both kind of right there and then were like, okay, well, we can deal with that, And I think she was trying to get us to do the amniocentesis, and that was a big deal to her. But we kind of were both like, well, no, we'll just prepare for the baby to have Down syndrome, and if she doesn't, that'll be good too.
Yeah, like 99% is like they wanted 100%.
Right. Yeah.
And
It wasn't worth the medical risk to do another procedure when we can just prepare for it. So for me, for me personally, from that time until the baby was born, I just told myself, you know, growing up and watching TV and hearing about Down syndrome is different than actually knowing about it. So the day the genetic counselor talked to us, I kind of thought, I don't really know about Down syndrome until I experience it myself. So I'm not going to kind of go with the preconceived notions or the TV shows or things like that. And so I just told myself that day that, you know, we knew there could be possible medical conditions that would come up because of Down syndrome, and I wasn't going to worry about anything until it was time to worry.
yeah, that made me worry.
Yes, I remember you throughout the pregnancy.
Like,
you were telling me that
yeah, like, why is he so calm?
Yeah, you're throughout the pregnancy. You were telling me, I think you're in denial and you're not really prepared for what's to come, and I don't think you understand. And but I mean, my whole philosophy from then, even
I just needed just a little bit of panic.
Yeah.
I just needed just a little bit.
But I mean, my philosophy from then and even to now is, you know, you worry about stuff when it's time to worry about it. So I wasn't going to worry about her having Down syndrome until she was born, and they actually went, yes, for sure, she has Down syndrome. And then she did, and even then I wasn't worried because she was born healthy. There weren't heart conditions or anything that needed immediate attention. The cataracts we noticed right away because her eyes looked silvery in the pupils, and we thought that was a little odd.
Yeah, I was like day 2.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that was a little worrisome when we started thinking about that kind of stuff. But it wasn't for a few weeks later, maybe a month later, that the doctor talked about scheduling the surgery. And so once he talked about the surgery, when we were actually there putting her into surgery, that's when I had worry, because anytime you put an infant under and do surgery on them, you're worried.
On their eye.
Yes, you're worried they may not survive, they may not wake up, those kind of things. So that was stressful. And then having to do the third one, third eye surgery, was stressful for sure. But even now, I mean, we've talked about a lot of stuff, and I just, you know, one thing at a time. When it comes up, if it's something to worry about, then that's when it's time to worry. But I don't want to walk around every day being worried, and I don't want to be feeling bad. So I just take it one thing at a time.
Do you foresee any situation where you would feel bad, or where you would maybe have issues or problems? You know, like there's a lot of moms and dads out there who they're real sensitive. I mean, and if you address their child like a Down's baby, or and not putting the person first, you know, a baby with Down syndrome is the preferred. But it can be really emotional, or, you know, just walking through the park and somebody notices that your baby has Down syndrome. And maybe you weren't kind of expecting that because you kind of, you put on blinders and you don't really think about it anymore. But do you kind of, have you thought about that? Like whether or not you would be shocked by somebody else, or maybe have a down day where you know, feel like you're down about the whole diagnosis?
No, I mean, personally, for me, having a down day or whatever, I don't really think about that. But I've thought about other folks and things they might say and the way they might behave. And if it's rude for somebody without Down syndrome, then I'll probably react poorly to it the way I would for someone without Down syndrome. If it's not using the right phrasing or preferred what most people prefer, I think it's reasonable to say that if people don't really know what they're talking about, or they don't know enough about the topic, then I can just let that kind of stuff go, because until I had a baby with Down syndrome, I was probably in the same boat. So I don't think those things will really throw me off, or I'll be too angry about them. So,
you know, honestly, I slip up all the time,
Yeah.
and, you know, it's not intentional. I've only just now become, you know, aware of like terminology and how that works, and why it's important, especially for the medical community, to address children who with Down syndrome as children with Down syndrome, and not, you know, the Down's baby in bed 3. I mean, you wouldn't say cancer baby in bed 3, or, you know, you wouldn't address any other child with any other condition in the same way. So why is it different with a baby with Down syndrome? So I can see.
I'm not particularly interested in like being an activist about it or trying to convince other people to change their behavior or anything like that. if they're rude to us or they're rude to my daughter, that's going to be a whole other other subject. But
Like, watch
yeah,
out.
but yeah, no, just people slipping up, saying the wrong thing, those kind of things. That I'm going to let that stuff go.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, that's good to know. I mean, a lot of these things that I've heard from you and from Jackson are, I mean, some of it is things I've heard for the first time. So maybe I should interview you guys live more often.
Maybe you should not tear up our question card so you don't
I
forget all your questions.
I know. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, look at. I had a bad day.
Yeah. Well, last night we were talking about college and stuff, so I don't know if that's something you wanted to talk about.
Oh, for Ella?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was saying, like, what kind of future do you foresee for her? I mean, what kind of have you limited her in her range already, or I mean, where do you see her as an adult? I see adults right now, and it's still kind of hard for me to connect the image of Ella with Ella adult. And I think it's easier with typical children to kind of do that. To foresee their future and foresee how they're going to look, or maybe how they're going to act and talk. But for some reason with Ella, for me, it's a little harder to envision what life is going to be like, like 20 years from now. Do you have that? I mean, what do you see 20 years from now?
I don't see anything specific, but of course I would love for her to grow up and be able to live on her own. Get married. You see a lot of success stories where people with Down syndrome are able to start their own business, those kind of things. So I would love for all of those things to happen, and I'll encourage all of those things to happen. But I'm not going to overly push for some of that stuff or not think about it. That's the ultimate goal, is how independent will Ella be able to be when she's an adult. Shoot for doing everything we can to help her be as independent and successful as possible.
Right. Well, I have, we both have kind of goals for our boys. Like, come on, you got to think about college. Come on, you got to think about career. You got to think about good grades. You got to think about, and that's kind of where I feel like we need to head with Ella. Like, we need to take a look at what she's capable of and not decide for her, but just keep telling her, you need to think ahead, and you need to think about your future, and let's work towards that every day and think about your future, and not like, okay, this is exactly A, B, C, D, what you're going to do, but more of a guide through, becoming independent,
Right. And yeah, for me, it'll be taking each level and each step one day at a time and seeing where she's at and what she's capable of, and then deciding what avenues we have and where we want to push for her so she can take those avenues, But for me, I think it's kind of like with the worry thing. You got to wait to see where she's at the end of elementary school and where she's at junior high and high school, and then you can figure out where you're going to go each step of the way.
Yeah. So again, if you're watching, if you could share this video. Mary commented. Mary has a beautiful daughter, Cora, who has Down syndrome as well. She says, having a Down syndrome baby, does it feel like you're raising her different than any of your other kids because she is Down syndrome, or is it the same? Is it just like any other baby you have had? That's kind of where we were talking, right? I mean, I think this is maybe because of the delay, but yeah, that's kind of where we're going.
No, we've talked about that. We've talked about that separately. You've asked me if I feel like we're spoiling her and those kind of things. So,
I kind of feel like we are, and that's not because she has Down syndrome. I think
it's
she's adorable.
It's her cuteness. Yeah.
I can't seem to put her down. I'm not even kidding. I have had to go to the doctor because of acute on-site arthritic pain, because I won't stop holding her like all day long. I'm like, oh, she's so adorable. why is she so cute? And like, she'll just coo, and I'll just be like, oh, baby.
Yeah.
I love you so much. So, I think
No,
in that way we do.
My goal is to try and treat her as much the same as I possibly can. But there's going to probably be times where I can't do that because she is different. And I think
Yeah.
the other kids will understand that. And if they don't, then we'll explain it to them. But I would like to treat her the same way we treat the other kids, and try and shoot for the same kind of goals of you sleep in your own room, you sleep in your own bed, you go to bed at bedtime, you don't come in with us, those kind of things early, and then move through the same kind of path that we move through with the other kids. But it might be maybe more challenging than we think. It may not. Again, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see when it happens how it is though.
Shirley comments. She says, "I pity any boy that comes around with 3 big brothers and Eric as a dad." Yeah. I was just talking with Jackson earlier about that, and he was saying that sometimes he worries about maybe if people will tease her, and I'm like, Jackson, you're 16 years older than her, and I doubt anybody's going to want to mess with her with 3 big brothers who are, they're by her side loving her and taking care of her, and we're pretty lucky in that sense because,
they better be there.
They're good boys. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. All right, so maybe we can have fun with this. I was going to give my testimony. Do you want to stay on, or do you want to just, are you done?
I don't have to be done. That's up to you. You want to do this as a team now? Is that what you're asking?
I mean, that way, if you wanted to bounce some questions off of me in return,
okay,
or give insight, it might be a good. That way, if I forget something or something. So and I've already said this. My story with diagnosis for Ella was a lot different. You've seen with Jackson that he had some worry, and he just, he might have had, a few nights where he stayed up with anxiety. And then you see with Eric, who is like not worried at all. He's still not worried. And I went in a total different direction. Like, I spiraled out of control. I was at school, and I think I was about 10 and a half weeks pregnant. And just a little backstory, we do have 3 boys, and I really, really was daydreaming about bows and pink outfits, and just seeing this pigtail girl run up to daddy, and just him and his face, and in love with like a mini me. And I know how he is with me. And I could just see, this guy loves all things cute. Some little girl with like my nose and his big lips. It was going to be, in my mind, I had built up this image of this little girl. And I really wanted to know, are we having a girl? And I didn't want to wait until my 6-month ultrasound. So I voluntarily took this blood test that I took it because one of the tests that they test for is gender. And it's just a simple blood test. They take your blood, the mother's blood, and they basically filter out the baby's blood from that. And these tests have come a long way. They're very accurate. They didn't used to be, but they are now. And, so I took the test for no other reason than to find out what we're having, so that I would have plenty of time, if we were having a boy, to just kind of get over that disappointment. Because, we both figured that this is probably our last baby, right?
That was 3 babies ago.
Yeah, well, that was
3 babies ago. You invited me to do this with you, so.
So I was at school. I was getting my bachelor's degree, and it was a big day. It was St. Patrick's Day, and we had a big, huge group project where we were supposed to guide and teach the class. And I had an activity planned and everything, and I was in charge of this activity. And it's a huge project, and it was a huge part of our grade, and it was in like 2 hours. And so I was at the school, I was making copies of stuff, and I get a call from the doctor, and I was so excited. I'm like, this is it. I'm going to find out if I'm having a girl. Oh, my goodness. So I pick up the phone, and immediately my doctor said, are you alone? And I need to talk to you about your test results. And then she went in to tell me that the test came back positive for Down syndrome. And she wasn't negative. She was very factual. And it was almost like I didn't register any of that. That's not what I was waiting for. I was waiting to hear if it's a boy or girl. And so I kind of like almost immediately dismissed it. Like, okay. Like, I don't really know what you're saying. So I just kind of, went like, aren't those tests, like inaccurate? Aren't they like not the real thing? And she said, well, I haven't done this particular brand, but these tests are really accurate. So I'm going to set you up with a genetic counselor, and you're going to get a phone call within the next few minutes about an appointment for that. So I just want to let you know that. And do you have any questions? And I thought, what? What? Like this, nothing was really making sense to me. And finally I was able to say, is it a boy or a girl? And so she's ruffling papers, and she's trying to look through everything and find this information for me. And at one point she hangs up because she said, I'm gonna have to call you back. I can't find that. I'm gonna have to call you back. And so for a good 3 minutes I just sat there. I wasn't really thinking. I wasn't really, I just kind of sat in silence and just kind of waited. And then she called back and she said, okay, I have it right here. It says here that you're having a girl. And I said, oh, okay. But immediately, my first thought was, but I wanted her to be pretty. I mean, like, who thinks that? And I couldn't even catch up with myself. Like, I was just instantly like, is that who I am? Is that what just happened? Is that how I feel? And then I just kind of spiraled because I really started thinking, I can't. There goes there. I had all these dreams about, this gorgeous baby. And in my head, I had built up over years of time this understanding that there wasn't beauty associated with Down syndrome. And there wasn't, there wasn't anything to admire. It was just kind of just something that in society you love and accept, but as long as it was somebody else's issue or somebody else's problem, everything was fine and okay. I didn't want it to be my problem. I didn't want it to be my issue, and I certainly didn't want that for my baby girl. And it was an instant no, like a denial. No, I can't. I don't even want to think about that. And within minutes, I was sobbing. I was just sobbing and crying because not only was I dealing with the fact that I had just heard some news that I thought in my head meant that I was going to lose my baby, or something was wrong with my baby, or like I could maybe even not go to full term with this baby. Something could be terribly wrong. And all these thoughts and ideas about all the 100 things that could go wrong. This idea that I didn't want this situation, and at the same time desperately needing to cling on to this beautiful life, and at the same time like thinking, how can I love this person that's supposed to be coming into my life? How am I supposed to be able to love this person? I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm qualified. Needless to say, the entire day was shot. I had to go to my instructor, and I was sobbing the whole way there, and I was sobbing the whole way to my car, and I was sobbing the whole time in his office, just telling him what just happened. I'm sorry, I can't go to class like this. I can't face the world right now. So yeah, it was. And that's within minutes of all this, of like somehow putting together the thought that was supposed to be this joyous moment where I find out that I'm having a girl, and suddenly I'm diving headfirst into, I want to say, one of the darkest times of my life, where I thought I knew who I was. I thought I understood how I operated. I thought I had different principles, and then I realized, oh, there's ugliness in me, and I'm just full of it. And so I had a lot of guilt, and I had a lot of shame, and I didn't know what to do with any of that because I was still unsure about what was going on with my baby. I still didn't know what was going on in my life. I didn't know if I was going to be able to keep her and find out, So it was really confusing. So I went to your work. I don't know if you remember. Well, you definitely probably remember, but I was crying and I was trying to talk to you about it, and you're like, hey, kind of dismissive about it, like, oh yeah, buck up, it's gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine, just don't worry. We don't need to worry about this until we know more. And part of me wanted to listen to you, and part of me was just like, I need to Google everything right now. I need to know what's going on. I need to understand. And I'm like hormonal and pregnant, and I hadn't like really know where to go. I mean, you were like, hey, we can do this, and everybody else, I wasn't ready to talk to anybody else about it. I just had these horrible feelings about myself, horrible guilt about myself, and I wasn't ready to share that with the world. So, who who wants to share with the world all their ugliness, or what I thought was ugliness at the time? I certainly didn't want to, and there was too much going on to hear other people's input too. I really couldn't take that. So I'm really glad that I eventually found DSDN, because I was able to work through some of those issues, work through some of that guilt associated with that diagnosis. There was a lot of guilt associated with that. I went through grieving. I mean, Eric, you'll testify that I tried bartering. I tried begging. I tried denial. I went through all the stages of grief where I was like, we have to give up this baby. We have to give this baby up for adoption. We have to. There's no way I can do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I mean, just crying in the middle of the night, waking up sobbing. It was just so ugly and so terrifying. The whole pregnancy was really, really hard and really dark because of fear and shame. And I didn't know that I wasn't the only person that felt like that, or that it's natural to feel like that. I mean, I had kind of had an idea about it, but I didn't know that I was perfectly normal and perfectly, within my right to feel all those feelings and go through all those feelings and have those feelings, and that it's just part of, you have this image of what your life is going to be like, and then something else comes along, and it's perfectly normal to mourn the thing that you were expecting and not getting it, and I think now I can look back. I mean, oh my gosh, it was like a month before Ella was born, I had to go to the hospital, and I was hospitalized for a really bad infection. I was taken in my first ambulance ride. I was so terrified that I would lose her that I was able to kind of get over that hump of not wanting to face it and not wanting to deal with Down syndrome. And I realized then that I wanted her in my life more than I didn't want Down syndrome. Does that make sense?
It does to me, because I was there.
Yeah. Like it was like an instantaneous, like, I want her more than I don't want Down syndrome. And it sounds confusing, but so things started to turn up a month before she was born. I started to feel joy. I started to feel excited about seeing her. It was a nervous excitement because I was worried about the delivery. Like, oh, what else is going to go wrong, right? Anything could go wrong. And then it turns out that we have the most amazing and beautiful delivery story ever. She's born in like, what? I don't know. I don't even remember. We were hardly at the hospital at all before we had her. And again, this.
You have a couple of questions, I think, before they get too far up there. You might want to answer them. Sam asked. Let's see if I can find him again. Ooh, where'd he go?
is short-term or long-term memory affected by Down syndrome?
Yes. And then you also have
Is that
one.
the question?
Yeah, that's his question. And then after that, Marianne asked another one. So
I don't know how to answer that. Is short-term or long-term memory affected by Down syndrome? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't researched that. I wouldn't believe it would. I mean, I don't know. I haven't noticed anything with what do you need? I haven't noticed anything with other people. I haven't heard anything, and we hear a lot in our community. We get all the information first. We get all those news feeds that you share. We get all of those first. They're spread around like wildfire, and we're tagged in a lot of them. And that's just not something that we've heard. I haven't heard that. Have you?
nope, I haven't heard.
If memory.
I haven't researched any of that stuff, and I haven't. I'm not as involved in the community as you are, so I haven't seen or heard of any of that stuff.
Yeah, I haven't either, but I mean, that's maybe something we could look into. Marianne writes.
Well, Jenny says there's an increased chance of early onset Alzheimer's.
Yes, I know that. I know that for there is an increased chance of that. See, but I don't know if Alzheimer's is exactly a memory issue, as it is an autoimmune disorder. So I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Marianne writes, does DSD network help parents with just young children or all the way into adulthood? So DSDN stands for Down Syndrome Diagnosis Network, and it primarily focuses on helping people through their diagnosis. They do go up to the age, they have groups for people, for parents up to the age of 4 with their children. But once you join these groups, they're your family. And I'm sure a lot of you are here watching from DSDN, and you can attest that you don't just kind of give up that connection because the kids are older or something. So, and that's really the network of families is really what's created. And that's really the benefit. So I'm sure that these people have made friends for life. So really the connection is kind of what you make of it. It's like high school, right? You're only in high school for 4 years, but how many of you have high school friends now? You know, it's one of those things. Let's see. My dad writes, there is a clear evidence that Down syndrome is associated with particularly poor verbal short-term memory performance, and a deficit in verbal short-term memory would be expected to negatively affect aspects of language acquisition, particularly vocabulary development. Individuals with Down syndrome are also show impaired explicit long-term memory for the. I don't think that was a question. Well, that wasn't. So read that, and I don't know what he posted or where he got it from. So take a look at it. It looks like some valuable information. Let's see. Oh, I was just talking about the difference between my prenatal diagnosis and what happened after she was born. For me, I had a really, really hard time in my pregnancy with the Down syndrome diagnosis. But the second, and I can't illustrate this enough, I can't emphasize this enough, that the second her tiny little 5-pound, 15-ounce body was put into my arms, I fell in love. And it was over. Like, there was nothing wrong with her. There's never been anything wrong with her. There will never be anything wrong with her. She is like the child I've, always needed all my life. She always needed to be in our family. She always needed to be right here in my arms. I mean, it was like heaven opened its gates and shone all its glory and grace right down on us. And I was so full of so much love that I just burst out crying. And even now, I'm teary-eyed thinking about it, because I've never felt that kind of instantaneous joy and instantaneous overwhelming love for this person for any person, really. And I love all of my kids, and I love my husband, and I love my family, but it was everything I needed, all from God above. And it was just flooded in. It just flooded in. It's flooding in. And it's been sustaining me this entire 6 months. Like, I've been like on this high thinking maybe I have some clinical disorder and something's wrong with my brain, because why do I feel so good? Why do I feel so wonderful? Why am I okay with, like, her eye problems were nothing. I just
Right,
know.
but you knew it must be okay, because I felt the same way, and
Everybody
I don't ever
felt-
feel that great, right? So.
Yeah, right. Well, even if you hadn't felt the same way, which it's funny seeing Eric like this with her, because it's true. Like, it's a different world. It's his daddy's girl, and it's a different world for both of us. It really is a different world for both of us. And even with medical conditions and problems, nothing seems like it's a big deal. Nothing seems like it's, maybe she's going to be blind, I think would be okay. Like nothing can phase this. Like, she's still going to be great. She's still going to be wonderful. I'm still going to love her, and I'm still going to love this journey that I'm on with her, and I get to be a part of it, and I get to watch her grow. And man, was God laughing when I thought, I want a beautiful girl, but I wanted somebody beautiful, or that I ever thought that she wouldn't be anything but the most gorgeous human being on the planet, right? So he was laughing. He was just like, spilling popcorn all over himself, blowing milk out his nose, just laughing at me, because she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous, and she's always going to be gorgeous. I just, she's too cute. I just love her. So I'm celebrating World Down Syndrome Day because I love her differences. I love it. I wouldn't, if I had a lineup of 50,000 kids that I could pick from that none of them had Down syndrome, I'd pick her every time. Every time. It's no big deal to me. I love that she's who she is, and I'm sure that's just going to get stronger as time goes on. So that's just my journey, I guess.
Kemet makes a good point. She's mine, so.
No. No.
That's unless my friend Julie shows up and steals her. So.
Oh no, we're gonna have to both team up.
Yeah.
No, it's me or you, but I can't.
See, that's an excellent question. Can we see the gorgeous girl?
Okay, I knew somebody was gonna ask that. But let me tell you this. This is the day that her reflex meds stopped working. This is the day of all days. And she spent the entire day vomiting, like all over our beautiful shirt. I don't know if you can see. I had to clean the vomit off a couple times. It says, dinosaurs are scary, but Down syndrome is not. And it's got a little dinosaur, and he's like, rawr. She vomited all over her shirt. She was a screaming mess the entire day. I had to go to a couple of fundraisers and a couple of doctor's appointments for some of my older kids. And she got her doses late on top of that. So she's sleeping. And you bet your bottom dollar that I'm not going to go wake her up. I'm not going to even look at her until tomorrow morning. Like, she's going to sit. She's going to sit right where she's at. I love her. But man, she had a day. We both had a day. It was a day. She knew something was going on, and she wanted to be a part. She wanted to be a part of it. So I was holding her like a good 80% of the day. So I'm not gonna make her. Okay, so before people just completely give up on us, let's do the raffle. What do you say we do the raffle?
Hold
you guys
on.
Ready?
Hold on.
Oh,
can you recap what DSDN is and all that for folks that joined while we were doing all the interviews and all that?
Oh.
Yeah.
See, this is why I need you here to help me out, because I'm a scatterbrain and I've had a day. Okay. DSDN is Down Syndrome Diagnosis Network. They're a nonprofit organization. They're put together as an outreach to reach out to the community to reach out to medical professionals and to reach out to parents who have a child who's been diagnosed with Down syndrome. They are a huge part of the community. And the reason why, there's a lot of organizations that support Down syndrome. There's a lot of them. There's Ruby's Rainbow, Brittany's Basket of Hope, John's Crazy Socks. There's your local groups, your national groups, your global groups. All of them are great. But DSDN has something they don't, and that is any time of the day, any day of the week, they're there. They're there and they're available where you need them. If you need them at a crib side in your hospital room, they're there for you. If you need them in your room in the middle of the night when you're trying to see is hiccups while they're sleeping a normal thing, they're there for you. If you need somebody to vent and a safe place to go to do that, where you're not going to get judged and you're not going to have to worry about people feeling sorry for you, they're there for you. They're there for you because they're all just like you. They're a group of parents just like ourselves. There's moms groups, there's dads groups, there's military parents groups, there's parents who have children with Down syndrome and congenital heart defect groups. There's a group for everybody, for every situation. And they kind of group you up based on what's going on with you. So, Down syndrome doesn't have a spectrum. There's no Down syndrome specialist. There's no one place that you can go to that can tell you about what's going on with your specific situation. That's why you get this big binder, and that's why you have to see all these specialists, all these various different specialists, because there's no, and the reality of it is that we parents are the specialists. We have to be the specialists. We have to be the advocates. We have to be the one bringing the information to the doctors. So how do we go about that? It's quite a lot of information. It's quite a lot of stress to figure out, to be everything that, your baby needs. And you don't want to miss anything. You don't want to let anything slide through that could be really detrimental, so this group is really important. If you're just checking in now, go ahead and share this and make sure you click on sharing the thing. But we're just talking about DSDN. Jackson's showing me something. Yeah, I don't know. Share a link. I can't see everything right away, and that's a lot of stuff to read.
You just said what? Yeah, you just said please share the link, so you're good.
Oh, yeah, okay. So yeah, that's how DSDN works. That they help you be the specialist. They encourage you. They support you. Their motto is, you've got this, and we've got you. And that's really right there. It sums up everything. Whatever you need, they're there for you. They're there to give you a welcome basket, and they're there to give you information and keep you updated and give you love and support. Sadly, they're also there to give handmade memorial gifts. We've had a couple of people in our group personally. We've had 4 children that have left us, and we were able to be there for those parents and help those parents. And it wasn't easy, but in the end, they didn't have to go through that alone. They didn't have to say goodbye and hold on to their little boy or girl for the last time alone. We were there with them. We were there as they were chasing the ambulances. We were there as they were panicked and their baby's lips were turning blue. We were there, and they needed that, and we were there for that. And then they have groups for parents who lose their children too. So they're there to continue on even after they've lost their little ones. So it's really a special group. It's really the reason why I became an advocate for them, because I really feel like it's really important, not just to me, but to lots of people. So yeah, does anybody have any last questions before we do a raffle? Any last questions? If you're there, and don't forget afterwards that you have to go to the link that I've pinned, go to the link that's in the description, and donate, because my progress means other people's progress. I mean, the person, whoever it was, the anonymous person that just donated $1,000 to help me reach this goal right here, this 3,375, I got to my new goal level because of that, and I'm now able to give $250 away to another mom. So you didn't just help me, you didn't just help DSDN, you're helping another mom. I mean, that, and then the trickle effect, because that mom's helping that family, and you know, I mean, it just keeps going on. It's just a beautiful cycle. So
I'm gonna, before you do the raffle, I'm gonna exit this video part right here.
Okay. Yeah,
because I have to hold my phone up the entire time. So,
hey,
but
you're strong.
But thank you for having me as a guest. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining me. And just so everyone knows, Eric hates this. He hates it. He hates this. You hate it.
Does it seem like I hate it?
No, because you're good. You're good at it.
Oh, I'm a good actor. Okay.
You're a good actor. Yeah. Okay. But he hates this stuff. Like, this is not his thing. So like, he doesn't even know. It's not your forte. Your forte. So thank you, honey. I love you.
All right, I love you too. Bye.
Okay. Bye. So while he figures out how to say count, you're still on there, baby. So it's time to give away this money. So again, I'm very excited to do this. This is something that I've been like so excited about, and I hope to continue doing this. I'm going to continue giving my awards and my prizes away. So stay tuned, because the more money I make, the more money you guys in DSDN make. Here's my little owl cookie jar. My friend Sandy gave this to me, and it's just totally adorable. I don't know if you've seen all the owls, but Ella's theme was an owl theme. So she gave me this owl cookie jar, and it's super cute. Okay, so again, come back to this page, come back to those links, because these links are available until June 1st. So if you can't donate today, that's okay. Donate tomorrow. You know, donate $21 in honor of the 21st chromosome. Donate $5. Pledge to have 5 other people donate $5. If you can't afford $5, find 5 people that can. Mike says, "Can I be the guest next time?" Oh, that's a good idea. We'll talk later. Okay. So anyway, I was saying, just keep coming back. You can donate multiple times. That won't hurt. Give up your Starbucks for the day. Give up your Starbucks for the day. That's something that's doable, right? All right. Here we go. Okay. Jackson, do you want to grab the one? Now listen, if the person decides to not, for whatever reason, to not take the winning, I will draw another name live. So just hang tight. I'm also going to hang on to these names, because the more I win, the more you win. And so I'm going to keep these names in here, and that way, the next raffle, I'll have them ready to go. Yay. Okay, grab the name and then don't open it. Just give it to me. I said don't open it.
Didn't open it.
Okay, our lucky winner of $250 to go towards their trip to the retreat in September for the Rockin' Moms retreat is Carrie. Oh, I can't see it. Hadakainen. I totally said that wrong. It's Hotakinen. Carrie! Carrie's our winner! She says, "I'm totally interested in getting this." So, Carrie, I will be contacting you and finding the best way to give this to you. So if you need it for transportation, use it for transport. If you need it for the registration fee, there you go. If you need it for babysitting, because that's the only way you're going to be able to go, is if you can afford to take a babysitter with you, hey, there you go. That's one step closer. So yay! So excited. That's it. That's all. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for sharing. Thank you guys for donating. Just thank you. Thank you for supporting Ella and for being okay with her being different. Being okay with me being different and not having the same reaction that Eric had, or maybe not having the same reaction that Jackson had. Thank you for celebrating that we are all different. We're all made different, and that's okay. You know, that's why we're celebrating. All right. Peace out. Love you guys. Bye.